How's it going, Ann Kemp? This is Justin Gibney, president of the Ann Campaign, and this is another civic update where we are trying to raise civic literacy among Christians so that as we go out and engage society, we can do so in a more informed and effective manner. Understand the issues, understand the process, and understand where Christians must stand in regard to principles when it comes to policy. That's what we're trying to help you do. So thank you for joining me again. If you recall, a month or so ago, maybe over a month ago, I had a civic update where I talked about the church and the politician. Basically, how should believers interact with our elected officials? And I said I would do at least two parts because there was so much to say. And so this is the second part of that, the church and the politics and the politician conversation. If you haven't seen the first one, definitely go to the first one, watch that first, because that was one of the, a lot of people really like that one. And so you want to get the information that I said in the first one. So check that out as well. I made a few statements. I'm not going to say everything that I said in the first one, but a few things that I pointed out in that was, number one, in our relationship with politicians. Number one, we should be respectful. Our politicians put a lot of work in. These folks give their lives. A lot of times they don't make a lot of money. A lot of them are thoughtful. A lot of them are well-intended. We should be respectful and thoughtful and civil in how we engage them. I truly believe that, and we should have some respect for them. At the same time, one of my stronger statements or assertions in that episode was that they should not be treated primarily as leaders. And that was new to some people, but our politicians should not be treated primarily as leaders, because what happens a lot of times is the politician is kind of going in the direction where they're being pushed. So they're not necessarily leading the pack. They're going where they're being pushed. And if we're treating them as our leaders, then somebody else, we're really just following the people that are pushing the politician or even the political party in the direction they want it to go. We should see them primarily as servants, not primarily as leaders. And I think we really need to think about that. We need to think about the fact that, are we really just giddy to be in the presence of a politician? If we get giddy and if we show that we're just happy to be in the room, we're sending the wrong message, because that's not the message that we should be sending. I talked about how folks talk about how they're supporting a certain candidate before the candidate has even put their platform out, sending the complete wrong message that you're not voting for them based on their policy. You're voting for them for something else that may not be helping people that are suffering and that need them to do the right thing. So those are some things we need to think about as we go into it. Another statement I made was that we have to hold them accountable. Make sure that they understand we're going to be holding them accountable. In fact, once you vote for somebody, I would suggest that you even have a greater responsibility to hold them accountable. A lot of times when we vote for somebody, it's like, I have to prove that I was right, so I'm going to protect them and justify everything they do because I don't want to look bad. I say it's the opposite. I say when you vote for somebody, you should feel a stronger obligation to hold them accountable because you helped put them in office, and now you need to make sure they do the right thing. This is what the AND campaign is talking about with new Christian politics, looking at politics and politicians completely differently than we do now. And it's for the better of both sides. So this isn't going against politicians, but it's for the better of both sides. Those are some things that we can do to make sure that it's a better relationship and that both sides are getting what they need, because be supportive when they do the right thing as well. So really what I'm saying here is we need to be more like the prophet Amos and less like Amaziah the priest. And if you haven't heard it before, the legendary Dr. William A. Jones has an excellent sermon on this. I think it's called Clergy in Conflict, but he talks about the back and forth between Amos and Amaziah the priest. And I think it's Amos chapter 7, verses 12 through 13 is what he focuses on. Excellent. He's the uncle of one of my good dudes, Amos Jones, and look up that sermon. It's a really good sermon. But here's what happened. You have this shepherd from Tekoa, right, who is Amos. The Lord tells him to go up to Bethel and really to testify to the truth, to prophesy to these folks up there about what's going on and what needs to happen. So that you have this shepherd who goes up to Bethel, and he really starts calling stuff out, man. He just starts telling the truth. He stands up for the poor. He talks about how false teachings are corrupting the youth. And the biggest thing he does is he calls King Jeroboam out on his immorality. And this is the big one. He calls him out on his immorality. And so after he's doing this, really trying to help the people, inform them about what's going on, you got this dude, Amaziah the priest, who goes to King Jeroboam and tells on Amos, like, look at what he's doing. We can't have him in here in your kingdom doing all this stuff, right? So he tells on him, and then he goes to Amos. Amaziah goes to Amos and is like, man, you need to get out of here, man. Go back to Judah, do all that talking. You're messing up my arrangement, right? Get out of here. Stop talking. Stop telling this truth and disrupting the political system. You're ruining stuff for people. This belongs to King Jeroboam. You need to get out of here. Very unfortunate the way that Amaziah the priest takes into this, because what we have to understand is there are a lot of people just like Amaziah the priest who have made their peace with the system, right? They've gotten their arrangement. They're living good. They're living okay. So they're not necessarily as worried about the people. They're worried about maintaining their arrangement. And we see this all the time. So mark my words, don't be surprised when the AND campaign really starts speaking out and starts disrupting the landscape. You're going to see people in both parties representing certain politicians that are going to be from the church coming down on us because it's this Amaziah situation. Hey, man, this is the arrangement we have. We're going in a certain direction. Don't mess that up. And that's just something that happens, but it's something that Christians have to watch out for. Which one are you? Are you trying to be constructive? Are you doing what God told you to do? Or are you a representative like Amaziah the priest? Because what Amaziah the priest was doing is he was representing the system. He was representing not the King of Kings, but King Jeroboam, right? He was basically caping for King Jeroboam because he didn't want to see, something that he had gotten comfortable with. He didn't want to see that broken up. That is not the position that Christians should take. So I'd ask you all to kind of read through that, get an understanding of that dynamic, because it's telling and it's something that we should know about. I have a story that, that's a little more recent that is interesting on this point too. And it's about somebody in Atlanta who they used to call the picketing preacher. And this was Reverend Joseph E. Boone. And Joseph E. Boone was a civil rights leader, and he was also the pastor of Rush Memorial. But he was a very serious activist and really was intent on standing up for the poor. So in 1982, Andrew Young, who's now Ambassador Andrew Young, became the second black mayor of Atlanta. And the thing is, a lot of the activists, including Reverend Boone, actually supported him in getting in office. And so while everybody was excited, everybody was celebrating, man, we got somebody in there, he's going to do the right thing or whatever. In his first day of office, while this celebration was still going on, guess what Boone did, the picketing preacher? He got a bunch of people and he set up a protest outside of City Hall on his first day. And so Andrew Young's like, this is my dude. Like, our families know each other. What's going on? Why would he do this to me? I haven't even made one decision. How are you going to come at me like this? Like, what's going on? But see, what Reverend Boone knew was that he had to send a message to Andrew Young to let him know that he would be held accountable. That their relationship and his love for him had nothing to do with the fact that I still have to hold you accountable. You now have authority. And I have to let you know that you have to keep your promise to the people. Because I'm too buddy with you, then you may not understand that I still have to represent these poor people. And I'm letting my people down, because what I know is, the corporations, the other folks are going to be coming at you and coming to you. And I got to let you know I'm going to be here too. And I'm going to be at your neck if you don't do the right thing. So I'm not mad at you, but I got to let you know starting off that I'm going to hold you accountable. And so I would say shame on us if we leave elected officials, if we leave our politicians to their own devices. We are here to support them when they do right, but definitely let them know you will be held accountable. You can't be so close or so enamored by a politician that you're not willing to hold them accountable because they're in your party, because you share the same identity. These were friends. Andrew Young and Ambassador Andrew Young and Reverend Boone were friends, and still he had to say, brother, I got to let you know I have people to represent. I have a mission that I have to fulfill. So keep that in mind, man. We have to keep these folks accountable, and it's better for everyone. This isn't against anyone. It makes it better for everyone. And do not be Amaziah the priest. When somebody's truth telling, you're kind of trying to uphold the system, and a system that really could be negative in a lot of ways for people who are in bad situations. So thank you for joining me again. Always try to listen to the Church Politics Podcast. If you like this, you'll really like that, because it's even more information. Support the AND campaign. If you want to get involved, reach out to us and let us know. I will be back next week. Take care.